All right. Okay. So hello and welcome to today's webinar on Agile Transformation, the journey to adaptable organizations. I'm Shalinka, and I'm thrilled to be your MC as we dive into the strategies, insights, and practical steps to make traditional organizations more agile, resilient, and responsive to change. In today's session, we'll explore what it takes to break down silos, foster collaboration, and empower teams to become self-managing and adaptive. Whether you're new to Agile or looking to deepen your understanding, our speaker will cover essential aspects from overcoming resistance to change to the pivotal role of leadership and how a PMO can support Agile culture and innovation. We are excited to have you all with us and encourage you to participate, ask questions, and share your thoughts as we move through this journey together. So let's get started. And let me very warmly invite Saman Kadanarachi, the president of the PMI Colombo chapter, to do the welcome speech. Over to you, Saman.
Thank you, Shalnika. I wish to welcome all again to our this is our October month webinar session, and this is our actually 8th webinar session we are delivering each month. Actually, we are having 2 events normally: physical event and webinar session, virtual session. So this is our 8th session, October one, and today we are going to present about the agile transformation, the journey to adaptable organization. With the short notice, I request actually within maybe 2 weeks or 3 weeks time, I had a chat with Professor Margareth Fabiola, and she was in this topic. And also, I think Dhammika will share the profile. So she is expert in this topic. So I'm happy to welcome her, and thank you for accepting my invitation and our invitation on behalf of Sri Lanka chapter within short notice and accept our time within. So let me invite Dhammika to deliver the profile, and then Dhammika will invite her to deliver the speech. Over to you, Dhammika.
Okay, thank you, Saman. So Margareth is a global leader in project management and agility with over 30 years of experience, a pioneer at PMI and a volunteer for over 25 years. She currently serves on the board of the Agile Alliance, known for her expertise in both approaches. She seamlessly navigates between agile and productive methodologies, blending them to benefit projects and organizations. With a proven track record of transforming public and private organizations through the use of best management practices, Margareth is dedicated to inspiring new generations of professionals to lead with versatility and innovation. Without further delay, I'm going to hand over the stage to Margareth. Over to you.
Okay, thank you, guys. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here today to talk to you about such important topic. And I'd like to say just a little words about me because I am a long-term volunteer from PMI. I've been volunteer for 25 years now, so it's a long journey. I could hit tired now. And also, but I was doing and practice more PMBOK, all the process, etc. in my life. And then I start to be curious about Agile. And then in 2018, I went to New York City and did a course and SAFE because I was very curious about how to scale Agile. I was using Scrum in some projects, especially in IT sector, but I'd like to know better about how a company could be Agile, not just part of that, but also the whole uh, organization. So I start to learn and practice And then I was part of the PMI board of director for 6 years. And then I was invited to submit my, to be elected in the Agile Alliance. And I did that. And then I started to know a new group of people, let's say, because they are very a different group of people. So I could understand better how the companies were using both sides. So I am very interested and to use not just one approach, because I don't believe that one approach is enough to solve everything. So my way of thinking in this area is that we as leaders, as project leaders, we should be more versatile and know more about all the frameworks and methodology and approach. That is my uh, way of doing stuff as well. Okay, so today we will talk about agile transformation, the journey to adaptable organization, and it is not an easy task. Let's say that it's very important to us as well as a profession to be critical enough to understand the challenges and uh, to win them. Because if you are very optimistic, we can have real problems in the reality. Okay, so it is important to think that companies nowadays are very they need to be more and more agile, right? Organization needs agility because we know we live in a VUCA word. Nowadays, we say also BANI, BANI word. That changes a lot all the time. We have to face uncertainty in our days. Every day we face that. So it's very ambiguity and complexity as well. So we need to uh, work in a rapid change, okay? Work customer demand and also competitiveness, because nowadays we have to take care of our company, to respond rapidly, to become successful. So it's very important that all companies are looking for be more and more agile. But I can say that be agile is not easy, especially for large companies or more traditional ones. So it's not an easy journey, but it's a possible journey. So um, let's say. And what is agility? Agility is the process of, let me see, it's a process of shifting. And I like this concept because I think it's easy. It's not, but it's very complete, because they say that the process of shifting organization, structure, culture, and mindset toward flexible, interactive process. It means that framework is just a part of that. So it's more important than frameworks or methodology is that we should work on organizational structure, culture, and mindset. So it's very important to remember that every time that we are talk about agile transformation. Okay. Well, what means that we have to shift it, transforming organization, how to do that, right? This means that reconfiguring hierarchy and internal process to promote flexibility, collaboration, and team empowerment. So this is for per se is a difficult thing to do, because we have to break silos. We have to break the way that hierarchy works. I work to the government, and for us, it's almost impossible to do that. So it's very difficult to a governmental entity become easily agile. I mean, very agile in all spectrum, because they are very hierarchical, and it's very difficult to break down those silos. So if you don't do that, probably we will not succeed in your agile transformation, because it's very important to work on this organization structure. Okay, this one example that we can give is at Spotify. Spotify is very famous for their approach to be agile, to be rapid, to go easily and happily to the market. And they are very famous to have those tribes that they call those tribes or squads or guilds, a small group that work in small cross-functional teams responsible for a specific product area. So at Spotify, you have several thousands of small groups that are very cross-functional, and they work in parts of the product. It gave us a lot of, it gave them a lot of flexibility and quick response to change. Okay, this is a good example for this one. Another thing is agile culture. This is not easy also to implement, especially for those big organization, as I said before, or very structured, very traditional, very hierarchical, because agile culture values transparency, collaboration, and continuous improvement, encouraging a feedback and learning culture instead of focus solely on task execution. And if you don't do that, if you don't promote an agile culture that will be part of the individual day by day reality, it will be very hard to be really agile. Okay. We can have some examples here, like companies like Amazon and Google foster an agile culture of continuous learn and innovation, where employees are encouraged to experiment with new ideas and process. This approach accelerates growth and keeps these companies at the forefront of innovation. I had the experience to go to Google and to experience the way they work. You know that they have there a lot of fun activities. They use shorts. They don't have a strict shift. They can go in the middle of night to work. They can stay at home. It's very flexible, and people has the culture to say what they are thinking, to make suggestions, no matter what position they have on the company. So it's a very good example how to have this kind of culture, right? And another one is transforming mindset requires individuals and teams to shift from control-based approach to one focused on adaptability and responsibilities. Okay, it can be easy for some people, but it's not that easy for another people, because a lot of people like to be said what to do. They like to be oriented what to do. They are task focused, and they don't want to be autonomous or have the responsibility to do. So you have to change not just one person, but the whole team, the whole employees. So to change this mindset, it's not easy, but we have a lot of experience. Most of you have experience in your company. I bet some of you have already passed through a transformation, and I bet you have also your experience. But I'd like to bring one here that is in Microsoft. Microsoft shift from a rigid mindset to a growth mindset under Satya Nadella's leadership, encouraged employees to be curious, collaborative, and experimental, transforming Microsoft into one of the world's most valuable companies. Microsoft was big, forever big, but they were very agile to adopt artificial intelligence by ChatGPT, right? Or GPT. I don't know the name of the company now, but they bought this company and it was very fast. And they are in a leadership position now because they were fast, not just to buy, but to implement, to engage in the company. Okay. Another thing is it's very important to us. So think it's not just about frameworks. Usually when people say, we will be more agile. So I will implement Scrum, I will implement Kanban, etc. This is part of the game, but it's not the everything. Okay. True agility is a holistic change. Frameworks help, of course, are part of the solution, of course, but are insufficient without foundation shift in mindset, structure, and culture. I will emphasize that because I see in the market a lot of implementation. They think they are transforming and they were not able to do that because they didn't take care of this part of fundamental parts that are people. Mindset, culture are people, and the way they work, the structure are people as well. So if you don't have attention, if you don't give attention to people and how to engage them, how to transform their mind, it will be not enough just to implement frameworks. Okay. So we have a lot of common obstacles in agile transformation. I see some of them. Okay. One is cultural resistance because it's not because individual will resist. And it's very connected to another one that is lack of leadership buy-in. We see a lot this kind of situation happen as well. We see people implementing, but the leadership is not buying that. The leadership is not involved. The leadership is not make part of this movement. So it will be not successful because of that. Because if you don't have the leadership buying, it will intensify the problem. And individuals will think, if they are not buying, why should I, right? So it's very important to have leadership on board as well, individuals, but both are very connected. I am saying there is a meme here that say, who wants change? Everybody wants change, but who wants to change? Because the change starts with us, with individuals, and it's not easy, right? It's not easy. So we have to think about that when implementing. Another two ones that are very interconnected as well are the lack of clear direction, because people say, I'd like to be agile, but what is that? What do we want to achieve? What kind of problems are we dealing? What kind of challenges are we working on. So it's very important to have this clear direction. So, and usually we don't see that. It's very common. I don't say usually, but it's very common to see companies that have fragmented and inconsistent actuation. They have IT uses some agile approach, but they have the client area is not using. They are not using for the services and products because there is no clear direction. Another one is expanded without a structure because we see a lot of people succeed in pilots but fail to scale. So you use in a part like RH or IT sector using, but it's not spread around the company. So the leadership must think that it's not succeeding because you have just some island use this kind of solution or agile approach, right? So those are very common, and we have to think about that to take it in consideration when we are transforming our companies, okay? Well, I said that frameworks are not the whole solution. They are part of that. The most important thing are people, and we have to take care of people, change their mindsets, involve leaders, etc. Okay? But frameworks help a lot. They provide structure and guidance, for example. So frameworks like Scrum, SAFe, and PMI Discipline Agile give organization a clear starting point and a set of practice to build consistency in Agile adoption. So frameworks are our friends. So we have to use them to implement. Yes, some companies don't use frameworks. I should say that. For example, if you see SpaceX is one of the most agile companies in the world nowadays, and it's not just I myself say that. I've heard that from different very good people around the world that SpaceX is very agile, and they are not using not a regular framework. They invented their way of working, and of course they are using a lot of those agile principles, but they don't use regular frameworks. They don't bought any. They didn't buy any of those frameworks that we are used to use. Okay, but but the frameworks are very good for us because it's a start point. They will help us to how to structure, what to use, what kind of practice and process and roles, etc. They act as blueprints that guide teams to how to plan, deliver, and adapt iteratively. So they are good. Another good thing they enhance collaboration and communication. Okay, Agile frameworks emphasize regular check-ins, transparency, and cross-functional teamwork. For instance, Scrum ceremonies like daily stand-up, sprint reviews, foster frequent communication and alignment, which are vital in transformation efforts. Okay? Another one is promote incremental delivery and feedback loops because it's part of the frameworks. Okay, they are made based on agile principles and good practices. So this part of incremental delivery is very important because you can give value to the customer, the client, and they can use that and feedback you so you can improve sooner what you are providing, just services or software. okay? So frameworks support a shift from rigid long-term planning to incremental, iterative work cycles, which encourage continuous feedback and quick adjustment, okay? So this approach helps team deliver value faster and allows organization to respond to change more readily. Another thing is scalability. Okay, for large organization, frameworks like SAFe or Discipline Agile provide scalable practices that address challenges of coordination across multiple teams, such as align goals and manage dependence, making it easy to scale Agile across an enterprise. Okay, to scale, I would say as well that scale Agile is not easy. It takes like years because we have to provide this structure that, as I said before, we have to change minds, we have to change the way of working, we have to change the culture. So it's not a fast thing to do. It takes a long time, enough effort to have to take care of that, to have a good, successful transformation, okay? Another thing is that framework can help is support continuous improvement, okay? Frameworks introduce a culture of reflection and improvement. So in the same framework, we can have this kind of way of make it better what we are doing. Okay, frameworks are effective tools that help operationalize Agile principles. Don't forget that. So let's talk a little about PMI Discipline Agile. Why I'm talking about that? Because we are at PMI, it's a chapter, and PMI has a good framework that can help us to use, that is PMI Discipline Agile, okay? It can support Agile transformation. How? I like this approach because first, it's very tailored. It's not very prescriptive. You can tailor according to your organization, your reality, your context, okay? It also very interesting because it brings some a hybrid Agile solution, because PMIDA is not one fits all approach. It's not. It incorporates Agile, Lean, Kanban, etc. Okay. It's a very good guidance for all project stage. Provides a step-by-step guidance. There is the WAL, that means way of working. That is an approach of PMI Discipline Agile that is a step-by-step guidance for every phase of project delivery. The way of work says that the team can decide how to work and use different tools and approach. And they have a lot of tools that people can use. And there is also some suggestions. So it's very, very flexible. They are focused on organizational agility. It's not just implement a framework. It's how to not only a team level agility, but also enterprise level. So it's very focused on how to use it in an enterprise level. DA encourages also the use of metrics and feedback loops to measure effectiveness and adapt the transformation process. Sorry. And also support scale Agile. TA provides specific pathways and patterns for Agile practice across large and complex organizations. So DA is very interesting in my point of view because it's open, it's flexible, you can learn and decide how to use in your organization. You can also do this in a more it's incremental way, not just change everything, and do that incrementally. Okay. So I'd like to share with you also some practical tips for agile transformation. Okay. First of all, start with clear purpose that must have leadership buy-in. We told before, one of the obstacles that we have is that leadership usually or sometimes don't buy in. So if you are trying to transform and leadership is not on the boat, you will not be successful for sure. So it's very important to have sponsors. So one thing that you have is involve sponsors, involve leadership, and get them buy in. Okay, very important. The other thing is intentionally build agile culture. Okay, you have to intentionally promote this culture that is trust, collaboration, and transparent. You have to encourage this kind of situation, right? So it's very important not just leave people do. You have to plan this approach. You have to intentionally uh, give space and have activities to improve this culture. You have to improve the trust. So it's very important to maintain this psychological safety where people can talk, can collaborate, can say their opinions without being, uh, being, I don't know the word, I would say crucified by his or her opinions. It's very important to give them space to freely collaborate, to freely give their opinions. So with that, we will build the trust that we need, and they will be, we are work on agile culture. Another tip that I'd like to share is commit to ongoing development through formal training and coach support. It's because training and coaching helps the culture change. If you just have a training to understand the process, the Scrum, let's say the Scrum. So you are a training the Scrum and that's it. It will be not enough to help you to change your culture. You have to have people work on that. The Scrum Master has this role, right, to act as a facilitator, like a coach. But you can have another coach. You can have the PMO help you with that. So the PMO is an important part of that. The PMO it can be the source of all those practical tips that I'm saying here. The PMO can be the organization that will implement and help the organization to transform. Okay. Another one is leaders should actively embody and champion agile principles. Leaders needed to model. If you have leaders that are doing what we are saying, it will help us a lot to implement, to transform. They will be serve as a model, as an example, and people usually follow the leaders. So it's important to have leaders, at least some champions, to 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 practice, to walk the talk, so people can follow them. Another one that I like is focus on incremental change. Start with small pilots and scale based on learning. It's very dangerous to you if you decide to change everything in one week, 1 month, or some months, I don't know. But if you try to change everything, it will be a disaster. I guarantee you, because it's very hard to change abruptly for a large group of people. So it's very important to take small steps, but intentional steps, and learn from them, and then plan the other steps. But your focus should be to be holistic, should be to one day have a company that's agile, not just a part of that, but the company, especially the leaders, the leadership. They should be very agile. They should be have this mindset in their minds. Okay. Well, some of you must think, why, what roadmap we should follow? I'm trying to do agile transformation. What roadmap should I follow? There are some roadmap that you can find. You can find several cases, but usually they follow the same uh, steps, the same core steps, let's say. Okay. So this is one approach that I like, because you start analyze where you stand. Where you stand now? You have to do a diagnosis, right? How are you working now? Where to stand? Do you have any agile approach in your company? None. How are you? How is your way of you are structured? Are you very, very hierarchical? Or no, you are more horizontal? Is your culture very, very, command and control, and people has to do what leaders say, what the managers say, or are you free to express your opinion? So it's important to understand what you are now, so you can plan how you will be your approach. Okay. So here is a build a kind of coalition, especially with leadership, with people, with the important stakeholders, what we should have to do, what is our common purpose, what is our common vision. So we have this, create a blueprint that will help you what to do. And usually we do a roadmap as well, a blueprint or a roadmap, what to do, how we act along the years, maybe, or months. Okay. And you have a pilot, start with some place or a small place like a project. You can start with a project, can start with a department or section, or a high level with a director, for example. Okay. And you do in that part whole out of the activity, train people, whole out, experiment, make the change that you need to do, improve that, and then you can scale and improve the whole. Okay. Provide resource and remove roadblocks and sustain agility. Okay, as you have everything that you want to have to sustain agility. This is a good roadmap. I like that. But for me, if you are not working also in change management process, it will be not successful. Why is that? Because we said before, the core important factors are mindset, culture, structure. If you don't work on that, it will not enough. Okay, not just improve process, make people work. It will change, but not the level that we need. So I encourage you to use process manage process. For example, regularly communicate vision, purpose, make people engaged, train and develop teams, not just one time, but the whole process, during the time, and provide psychological safety, engage leadership, etc. And this is a work that the PMO can do, okay? If you have a PMO, the PMO would be the right place to do that, because they are centralized. If they are in a good position, like a strategic level, they can see the whole organization. They can improve the whole way of working, and they can be a very good group for that. In some companies, we say they implement a special PMO they call transformation office or something like that. It can be, but at the end of the day, it's the same. It's the same thing. You have a group of people that will provide these activities, that will do all the transformation and sustain that during the years, okay? So my conclusion are frameworks, methodology help, but are not enough, okay? Organization culture is essential, so we have to work on that. Otherwise, it's a waste of time if you don't work on that. Leadership support and involvement are fundamental. If you don't have, forget, because it will not succeed as well. So we have to have leadership support and involvement. They have to be sponsors. They have to buy in. They have to understand why they are doing that and what are the vision of the future. Because why is important to be agile? Why is important to be adaptable? Why they need to do that to survive? They need to understand very well why, and they need to understand very well how it can help this, how this kind of approach to be agile, to implement this practice, to be more transparency, how it will help them. So it's very important to involve them. Clear vision and strategic alignment, I said before, they have to have this very clear why we are doing that and where we would go, where we should go, and what we should achieve, okay? And have process adaptability and flexibility. It's very common to try to use a framework, and I've heard a lot about SAFe. I am a SAFe certified, and I saw some people don't like SAFe that much because they say it's very, it's not that flexible. It's very structured. And sometimes if you are not flexible, it will not achieve the context, because every place is different for the other one. Every reality is different. So you have to be flexible to adapt to your reality. Okay, so those are my thoughts for the day. I'd like to thank you so much for listening to me. And those are my contacts. I have a, a, a profile that is in English, Drops of Management. I have another one that's in Portuguese. I don't think you can follow me in Portuguese, but in English, it would be a pleasure to have you follow me. And also my LinkedIn. If you wanted to be connected with me, it will be my pleasure to exchange more ideas and to talk to you more. Okay, thank you so much. And now I'm available to answer some questions if you may have.
Yes, thank you so much, Margaret, for your valuable lesson on how to navigate through change and also build up a more adaptable organization geared in Agile. So we are actually now eager to hear the participants' questions and delve deeper into how we can transform organizations into Agile, adaptable environment. So we will open it up to the participants now. Please feel free to raise your hand and ask any questions that you have. And if you do prefer, type it in the chat, which will be monitored. So I know we have one question already, Margaret. So let me read that out to you. So it says, in today's world, all organizations are going on hybrid models. How will agile transformation work out, or how can we implement this process in place?
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking me. Well, when you say transformation agile, you can say the same for hybrid. When you are, that's why I said a lot of times the framework is not the answer. The framework is not the answer. It's very important to us understand that. I'm not saying that be agile can, if you are agile, you have to use Scrum, for example. I'm saying that you have to be fast, etc. The have feedback, incremental, and of course, it's part of agile process. But you have to recognize that the traditional way of doing, they are very, it's a long-term history. They have a lot of good practice in place, and we should be able to use both. Because even though, if of course, if you want to be agile, we will not work planning 1 year to implement another year something. It will be not agile at all. You have to plan small pieces, implement, plan, implement. But it doesn't mean that you cannot use some practice like stakeholder engagement methods. We don't see that in Agile world. I am certified in PMI DA, PMI DA SSM, that's Scrum Master, Scrum, Senior Scrum Master, DAC, that is Agile Coach, and PSPO, and a lot of those, because I like to be aware of what people are doing, what are the new stuff, the new, okay? But you don't see this part of how to engage stakeholders. You don't see how to do a good risk management. You don't know how to do a good communication plan. You don't study this when you are studying Agile. So those practices are essential to do a good project, especially for a big project. So I think that, Balaji, I think that we should, when are transforming, when you are thinking about what to implement, you should put those hybrid model. You insert some of those practice that are very helpful, and they are not used by Agile approach. So I think it would be a very good approach. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, thank you for your answer, Margaret. Yes, and you did speak a lot about this, I think, during the time as well, where we need to sort of know our organization. I really like that roadmap where you said analyze where you stand, right? So that's the beginning of all of it. But also you did speak in length about leadership buy-in and, like, the purpose, communication, and all of that. So we know leadership plays a vital, pivotal role in all of this. So I just want to ask you one more question on leadership, maybe just to, I know you did speak at length about this, but could you just elaborate like specific ways at the starting point where leaders can support and model the behaviors that you spoke about for a successful agile transformation?
How they can engage, is that right?
Yes,
Your question?
engage and like,
Okay.
yeah, specific things that they could do, like to like initiate and also help the organization through that journey.
Okay. Okay, let's say that you know that be agile will be very good for your company, but the leaders don't know yet. Okay, they don't know yet, but you know that you are very bureaucratic, and you are not doing well the stuff, you have to, the process very complicated, you have to ask authorization for a lot of people, etc., etc., etc. So you think that you could be more agile, more lean as well, and you want to sell this for your leadership. My opinion that, first of all, you have to collect good cases. If you have good cases to show them, you see these in those organization, they are flexible now, they are very good, and they are doing very well because of that. But I avoid just to show. I showed you Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Spotify. They are very good, but they are very big. They are very special. I mean, it's not. You don't see a lot of Amazons. You don't see a lot of Spotify. They are in some way unique. So it's very important to show to your leaders more close to your uh, to your culture examples, more close to your kind of organization examples. So you can show examples. There are a lot of examples. People are being more agile, and they are transforming because they are answer more quickly to the market. So they'll show them cases. First one. Second one, try to sell them what we are losing not being agile. Make them realize, like example. I can't see in my company because I work for the government. It is very bureaucratic. I can see a lot of example inside that I can show the cycle, the time, the lead time that we have. Like, oh, we spent like 3 months to do this kind of work here that could be easily done in one day or maybe 1 week, and we spent 3 weeks. Why is that? So show examples, really examples, real examples you have in your companies, and then educate them. Go with them to um, seminars, workshops, congress, so they can see example what people are doing. Maybe they don't. Wow, a lot of companies are doing that. Why am not? So I think those three will be very good to to bond them in this idea, and then you can work with them to plan, because even though we are talking about agile, we plan is a important part of every project. Whatever the approach you are saying, you are using, you have to plan, you have to be intentional, you have to work what to do. Maybe of course you learn and change, but you have to plan at least the next step. So this is are my suggestion for you.
Thank you, Margaret, for the very practical tips. That was really helpful, I think. And we do have another question coming in from Sachini. So she wants to know,
Okay.
what are the top 3 priorities that organically grown companies need to focus when doing agile transformation? The top 3 priorities.
Okay, I say that priorities for the leaders. Exactly.
The companies need to
Okay.
focus when doing agile
Okay.
transformation. Yeah.
Okay.
Companies
Okay.
as a whole.
I would say that first of all is um, communicate. The company has to have this view, this vision, and communicates to the entire group. Even though we are think about some pilots, but I think the whole company should understand what's going on, that our mission is to become agile in the future, and now we are doing this, that, or that. So communication is very important. It's a priority, number one. The second one is to engage people and to make them to share the experience, to make them understand the progress, what's going on, what are the results, what they learn. I think it's very important. And I would say before that, maybe they have this common vision. It's the base of everything. So we have to have the common vision, the purpose, and then communicate that for everybody, and then share and communicate the evolution, what's going on, the results, and the next steps is very important.
Thank you so much, Margaret. So I hope we answered
you.
Sachini's question. And one more question from Saman. What is the difference between Agile framework and Agile tools? Are both the same?
Okay. Yeah, this is what I say. Maybe it's not, it's a Margaret stuff. Because when I say a framework, it's a structure. I have a Scrum that you have to have these roles, PO, Scrum Master, and team. You have to have rituals like daily meetings, etc. So the framework is the whole thing that you have to implement. Okay, when I'm saying tools, I'm saying just one tool. For example, you are using you are engineer and you are using a prescriptive approach or a traditional approach, okay? Civil engineer using, but you can use some tools. For example, you can use a Kanban board. It doesn't mean that you are agile because you are using a Kanban, okay? But it can help you to make the work more visible. So why not use other tools from the other approach? This is the base of a hybrid approach. You can be agile, but using some tools from, like I said before, like risk management, templates, like, stakeholders. So I'm using those terms that the frameworks, everything, the whole thing, and tools are some tools that you can use in a hybrid way. Okay?
All right. Thank you, Margaret, and thank you,
Thank you.
Sachini and Saman, for those questions. And one more from Mohammed, which says, Hi, Agile welcomes change even late in the development process. Question is, what is your suggestion to control scope creep? I think, yeah, that's a very valid question because it's like, it's going on. So how do we manage scope creep?
Well, this is very hard because scope creep is very hard, even if you are using a prescriptive model. For me, the crucial difference between the both approaches about be prescriptive or be adaptive is scope. Because if you know the scope in advance or as sooner as possible, the approach for you should be prescriptive. Let's give you an example. If you are building a house, you know what house you want, right? You want a house with 3 rooms, a living room, a kitchen, 4 bathroom, whatever, a swimming pool, whatever. So you can imagine it. You can have the scope clear in your mind sooner. Okay, so the script the scope, you can have this very clear, at least when you start the project and the early stages. So prescriptive will be a good fit for you. Even though when you have the scope very clear, you have the scope creep because people understand. For example, you are doing your house and in the middle, maybe I'd like to have a TV room that I didn't think about, right? So you have to change. In this case, because it's very you knew in advance, the change of the scope will give you the opportunity of control the change. So you can control the manage, say, well, to do that, I will spend more time, I will spend more money, I will have, so in prescriptive way, it's very clear the scope and you can manage it. And you manage it, use this kind of situation, you analyze the change, etc. But when you are agile, it's completely different. And we must understand that because agile, you don't know the scope, the whole scope. For example, you are developing a software. If you try to understand the scope with the clients, all the scope, what to do, you will spend months detail the requirements. And the past told us it is not good because when you implement the software, people will have different opinions, they will have different needs, and worst, the context will change, the market will change, so we will deliver something obsolete most of time. So the approach is you don't know the scope, the requirements, all the requirements, but you know what to do. You know the roadmap. You know the vision of the product, and we will elaborate iteratively. So the scope changing in Agile is part of the game. So you know a small part and to deliver, and people will use that. If I'd like also to have this, and you will refine your backlog with that. So they are different, and the scope for me is the core of the why they are so different, the two approaches. I don't know if I answer you. I hope I have answered you, but in Agile, you don't think about scope creep because it's part of game changing. It's part of the game. Okay?
Thank you so much, Margaret. And thank you, Mohammed. Hope this answered your question. And that's all that we have as questions in the chat.
I have
And
another question.
okay, go ahead, Saman.
Actually, in your presentation, you mentioned about the control-based approach. Some organization, big organizations, they use control-based approach. And in Agile, in such a big organization, we say some concept like fail early and learn fast, fail fast, learn fast, or fail cheap, learn fast. So how, in your experience, so leaders sometimes in a economic recession time situation, they try to do micromanagement and they try to reduce cost, and they have stringent approach to reduce cost and all these things. So in a kind of a economic recession period and in kind of a big organization, how you can advise leaders can have the thought process to have for agile transformation, especially in a service industry like telco organizations?
Well, it's a kind of mindset, as we told before, but I think also, and I'm seeing a lot in the market, in the real world, that people sometimes they forget the leaders as well in the other way. Why I'm saying that? Because you have also to provide the leaders with some information. Otherwise, they will be like, well, they are doing something and I don't know what they are doing because, I don't have a schedule because it's not part of the game. I don't have this, but you can have a roadmap. You can have a high-level roadmap, a high-level schedule. You can provide them with information so they can be more, feel like they are being heard and engage as well. And you can also educate them. That's the way of doing is different. So it's very hard to be a micromanager. It's impossible to micromanage in this kind of approach, because people are doing, and they are doing, they are decide what to do. It is not a decision just because I do whatever I want. It's not because of that. They are decide what to do because they know the technical issues. They know what to do. So they are deciding what to do, what will be better to do. But it's not our uh, uh, job to tell them what to do, right? Because we don't know. They don't better than us. Even in a civil engineer, if you think about that in a project, because I just built a house and I saw that the engineer, they they he was aware about the structure, if it will work well, but the day by day activity, he didn't know. The leader, we call here the mestre de obra, that means the building master. He is responsible for the daily activities, not the leader, not the engineer. So it's important to give them this change of mind. It's part of the game, change their mind, but also take care of them, take care of leaders, uh, communicate to them, involve them, engage them. They will understand sooner or later. They will understand what is going on, and they will be more and more engaged if you do that.
Thank you, Margaret. And someone, I hope the question is answered.
Yeah, that's another last question about you talked about the DA tool, DA, Discipline Agile tool. I think you told about the PMI digital
Discipline agile,
right.
yes.
So can you give some advice on that? Because DA tool has a goal tree structure and certain 6 processes are there. So and enterprise agility, a lot of processes are there. So when you're doing for the DSM exam, can you give certain tips about the DSM, how the structure, everything, if you can?
The exam, you mean?
Yeah.
Well, to exam, you have to study, and usually you have to memorize something, but you have to understand as well. Because if you do the Scrum Master, the focus on understand the process and the cycles. If you do the senior Scrum Master, the focus is understand the team and be more, aware of people. If you do the Agile coach, the focus is on emotional intelligence. That's interesting because they think that to be a Scrum Master, you have to understand the process, the rituals, how to do that, how to do that. If you are a senior, you have to understand more about team, how to engage team, how to, to make people more autonomous, to give psychology, safety, etc. If you are being an agile coach, you have to understand better about people, emotional intelligence. So it's interesting. They divide the knowledge that you have to acquire according to the level. Interesting. But you have to study, someone. You have to study, but it's not that difficult. But you have to study and memorize and do some questions, simulators, and that's it.
Thank
Because I
you,
ask
Margaret.
question because there's choose your way of work is a big book. Choose your way of working is
Yes,
the DA tools very big book, and it is very detailed mention about the everything, every
yes.
which you
The
have to make.
wall. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you
Yeah.
so much.
No
Okay.
problem.
Thanks, Saman. I'm mindful of time, so we have about 1 or 2 minutes. Maybe I'll go ahead and ask you a question, Margaret. Thank you for all the answers you've been providing. It's been really great. I mean, so many practical tips which we face day to day as project leads. So we spoke about
Thank you.
Agile, and I know everything's changing, right? But as leads, we also know we also have to measure progress and effectiveness of all the initiatives that we do. So, do you have any tips on like the best ways to measure the progress and effectiveness of agile initiatives?
Can you repeat, please, the question?
Okay, can you give us any tips or best ways to measure the progress and effectiveness of agile initiatives? Like
You mean about?
how do we
Sorry.
measure the progress, because we know we are on a journey, but we also need to see how we are making progress, right? So
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. Well, there are some metrics that are very well used in Agile, like cycle time, lead time, so throughput, productivity. So you can use that to understand if you are evolved. Actually, you have to use that. If you are being agile, you use that metrics that will help you not just to evaluate the work you are doing, but also the process if they are help you to achieve. So I suggest you to use those metrics that are very common. We usually have also metrics like they are very interesting, like customer satisfaction or NTS. You can also have team happiness. That's interesting. So you can have you can ask your team, are you uh, happier now that we are use this kind of approach? What are missing? So you can understand the team, you can understand the customer, and also use that metrics, those metrics that I told, lead time, cycle time, throughput, productivity, and other metrics to know. So you can measure it when you start, and then 2 months later, for example, you measure again, and then you measure. And this is not to punish people, not for that. Those metrics is to understand how to improve the way of working. Well, because people usually they work better if they are using a good process, if they are being heard. So you have to understand the soft skills and hard skills to improve, and that will be give you clarity and data so you can improve. Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much, Margaret. And thank you for sharing all your expertise and inspiring insights on agile transformation. And your guidance on creating adaptable and collaborative organizations actually has given us very much to reflect and also to apply in our own daily work. So now I would like to uh, to someone for the final. Yeah.
Thank you, Monica. So, Professor, that normally we are giving a is recognition and appreciation through this presentation. So, just to share this one about our e-certificate for you, your commitment and
Thank
support
you.
for this session, and actually, thank you for so much for this wonderful session. Is there a
Thank
possibility
you.
you can share your presentation, because there's a request came to presentation as well as the video recording. Would you don't mind we share the presentation and the recording through with the participant? Is it okay?
I'm okay. Thank you.
Okay. And the participant, this is our PDU code for this session about the PDU. So you can copy this one, take a screenshot and get the PDU. So it's PDU code. So Dhammika, are you there?
Yes, Aman. Yeah.
Yeah. So, over to Dhammika to deliver the vote of thanks. Dhammika, over to you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Aman. And I wish to thank our speaker today, Margaret, and all the members who participated today. And also, we can see a very good number of participants today, especially from the academic sector, representing various universities, especially from University of Vaunia and other students. So I hope you have learned a lot from that, and thank you for participating. And all the other participants who participated today. And special thank to Shalanika for hosting today as our Master of Ceremonies. And thank you, and see you in our next member forum. Thanks.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.